You think we need the microphone?
I suspect not. I could hear you.
Because we're right here.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
That excellent.
Good evening. Here it is Thursday, May 23rd, and this is our second night of having an informational. And tonight, as we did Tuesday night, all we're doing is collecting feedback, trying to give us some information to know, to help us write our warrant articles. If you have any questions specific to any of the new ordinances, contact Lisa at selectboard3@westportisland.gov. And if you have general questions, you can just email selectboard@westportisland.gov. Basically, what we're going to go over tonight is we have some ordinances. There's specific changes. Lisa, who's been working on that committee, will share those with you. And then we have a couple of committee notifications where they again want to share some of their thoughts as they're getting ready to write warrant articles. This isn't a place where you make any decisions. This is just a place where you are giving us some input to help us make some decisions. All right. So take it.
Okay, so we'll go through the proposed ordinances from the committee. The first one being the state housing legislation, LB 2003. And this was a state initiative to increase housing density and affordable housing in Maine. So every town in Maine had to take this on and make sure that their building code ordinances are in line with the new requirements of the law. So basically that's what this, also before I go on with all the ordinances, the town website under news, right? Under the news section, all these ordinances are on the website, so you can read them at your leisure. And again, please email me if you have any questions. So this was a ordinance that started at the planning board level. This has been going on for a couple of years. Started at the planning board level, was picked up by the ordinance review committee, and then ordinance review quickly realized that we were starting from zero and it was silly for us to have it, so we gave it back to the planning board. So this came out of the planning board's work. And is there anything else I should be saying, John? It's confusing and it's not always easy to understand, but again, I think it was formulated with satisfying the state, but yet keeping the interest of Westport Island in the mix as well.
Yeah, I guess I don't bring it up. Anyone has questions?
For clarification. Okay.
Who was not here on Tuesday?
But she's been here before. Yeah. All right.
Wasn't Emily going to be here on Tuesday?
Emily emailed us and said she couldn't, but then somebody else was supposed to come representing, and
Yeah,
I guess they didn't.
we reached out to Emily. Emily said she could be here Tuesday, and then she had a thing she come up. So she invited two of her colleagues to participate. And we didn't hear from them until
I think they showed up.
3:30.
Yeah,
And I said, town and in response, so she had similarly, he had tended to like June, communities. So, short answer from the town, hoping then.
Oh, that would be good. No questions. On to the next. The nuisance ordinance started out as a junkyard ordinance. It was prompted by a property that had a lot of complaints about it over the years. And when we looked at the state has a statute for junkyards, and when we looked at that, we realized it was maybe not meeting our needs. It would for this particular property, but for other types of properties. So we sort of did this nuisance ordinance. And yeah, Lost my train of thought, sorry. Yeah, so any questions on the nuisance ordinance? Okay. Next is amendments to the building code ordinance. So the first one was again prompted by a situation in town, a variance situation. So we're going to be adding a paragraph under the setback section that talks about if a building is going to be built within 10 feet of a setback, they have to have the footings of the building approved or signed off on before they continue building and continue construction. The next one is we're adding a section in the building code ordinance about access to town roads, which is basically driveways. That came as a request from the road commissioner because, again, there's a situation in town where there's a driveway that causes problems to our town road every year, and it's costing the town money. So this was a way to avoid that, where the road commissioner would basically oversee the where and the how of the new driveways to eliminate that possibility. The other thing in the building code was the definitions. In 2017, the town meeting voted to adopt new definitions for the building code ordinance. And there were also other ordinances, which I'll talk about in a minute, of the same thing, but the article was not worded correctly. So now we still have the old definitions and the new definitions were accepted. So now this is worded so that we can replace the old definitions with the new definitions. Just a matter of how that warrant was worded. There are, next one, any questions on that? Next ordinance is the mooring area ordinance. This was basically mostly by the request of the harbor master. These changes were made. Very basic things. I think the most relevant or important one is he struck out in section D the limiting it to one mooring per lot in the island mooring area. His thinking was that if somebody owns 10 properties on the island, and that one person could have 10 mooring lots, and he wanted it to be more under his what's the word? Discretion. Thank you. So that was that one. And then the other one was amendments to the right landing and adjacent town property use ordinance. We're just basically switching out selectmen with select board. The request, there was a line where it said that posting advertisements and other notices are not approved and signed by, and it's changed, took out harbor master and made it select board. And the other part was taking out the section about renting the area for group events. It was basically decided that it would be, first of all, it should be a permit and not an application for use. It hasn't really been used, and it's difficult to. It's a public place, so you can't really. People could go and do what they want there, but it's just to save it for a particular group. We may decide to do that in the future going forward, but we just wanted to clean it up for now. So that was that one. Any questions? And then the last one was the other definition section that I spoke of earlier in 2017. So basically, it was floodplain management, shoreland zoning, site plan review, and subdivision ordinances. So it's just the same deal, just getting rid of the old definitions and replacing them with the already approved new definitions for 2017.
That's no question. All right, let's move on to town hall committee and some of the things that they've proposed. Jeff, you want to take that?
Several different points, one of which, several of which tie back to improvements to make the town hall ADA compliant. And also enable it to down the road use as a heating or cooling center. So that's the three of the four projects. Now, one is to replace the ramp that we have today with one which is ADA compliant. Secondly, we want to replace or use the space here to the left of the stage and put in a bathroom, but the ground level, so that someone can wheeling the wheelchair right into that area. We'll be able to connect that restroom into the plumbing that's currently in the back of the building. And so that would give us a way of having people be able to use this facility, the town hall, in wheelchairs. The third area is looking at the heating and cooling side of things. Currently, a heating system is having challenges. So this past winter, we had several occasions when we lost heat in the building. And we had to tweak some, so it has not failed since March, which is good.
Warm. Too.
Well, it's been over now too. But knowing that we need to address that, and because there are grants available to help us employ heat pump technology, we think that we can add a heat pump to the existing furnace ducting system, and maybe leave the furnace there as a reserve, but be able to use the heat pump to heat the building. Same time, though, the heat pump would also enable us to cool the building in the summertime. So it would meet that need for being able to heat and cooling. For a center, for a warming or cooling center, we've got the kitchen facility here. So again, people could survive in this building in the case of a disaster. We have that. One thing that isn't mentioned is a generator. So we need to have a generator down the road as well, but there's also grants that are available from back in FEMA. So we think that these are projects that we should be able to get some grant funding. We'll be seeking to get grant funding for the projects, but we very much need to replace the ramp. The ramp actually was on the list of projects for last year, and it just wasn't addressed. So those are those three projects. The fourth one is one that the town hall committee believes is necessary. The front of the building is suffering a lot of rot in the siding and the trim. And indeed, when Jim Wiles went up to replace the flagpole up top, found that the flagpole mounting is up into wood, which is also rotted. So it's throughout the side. We knew down here we had sections of siding and turnaround windows that were bad, but it goes right up. So we think we need to replace that. The building also doesn't look very good at the moment, so that would help to restore the appearance of the town hall on that side. So in addition to that, we'd want to repaint that side of the and do that. So we're proposing that as a project that could be funded out of the town hall capital reserve account. Rough estimate of about $12,000, and we will put this out to bid to do that, to both replace the rotten siding and trim, and then do the paint job on the building. So those are the four projects that we're proposing to put into the warrant.
And you'll see warrant items based on that, but do you have any feedback for us on that? Any thoughts? Jim?
The night I came down here, we looked granite, we were talking about earthen ramp and granite. We couldn't build one ramp. Now, he done over he was back hanging in. Right.
That was when we talked with Les also, I think.
Well, I think you've been working this one.
I've gotten, I called companies in Maine that do disability ramps for people in their homes and that kind of thing. So I got one guy from Portland that was proposing he was talking about using Trex, not pressure treated, but that same idea of a Trex, board and then the vertical posts. So, and I got a quote from him for that. It was like 9,000 or something. And then I got a quote from just one that does like aluminum, those kind of modular put together. And I know aesthetics are important. So I just did that just to get a basis of comparison. I'm thinking most people would probably want the nicer looking. Ones. And
So, earth is one.
yeah,
Pavement,
yeah,
but then you have to grind it into. So the wooden one.
right,
When something is out there.
right. Yeah, and then we do have to have a pad
Right.
at the base of that. This guy said concrete, but.
An area, pavement and concrete.
Mhm.
Probably. Just ready.
Right,
There are probably some variable restrictions based on the building being a registered historic building. Probably sticking in, located,
yeah,
probably the history.
I think April's been researching that because, she's aware of the fact that there are certain stipulations because it is a historical building, but also by law, we need to have something to make this ADA compliant. As long as we have,
yeah.
voting in here, it is a public place that is used for that, so.
But I'll double check with April, because I know April spoke to somebody about that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
I just, I'll stick to the history, we would want it to be appropriate for the building, and we can do that. So,
Of course.
yeah.
Any other thoughts? All right, so last on our list is the road plan. Do we have the road commissioner here tonight who could talk to that? You want to use it?
Yes.
Stand near that, yep.
Oh, they'll make me on.
Oh, sorry. What number is that?
It's-
Oh. Yeah, we're at 2. What to do?
Blurry, that's right.
That's it.
I don't know.
So how this happened, when did that happen? The storm cleanup is pretty well done, other than some big wood that's left ringside. DOT has done nothing at this point, but it's not just here, it's everywhere. The grading is done. Coal patching should be taking place here in the next week with the whole. We got a few street signs missing that have been ordered. There's been a little sign theft. Recently, and some vandalism.
The signs, Jim.
The average road size is 20, 25.
Doesn't include the time to put it up or anything else.
No, it's, this, I better be charging for that, but still, it is. Legitimate.
Mhm.
And it's, we avoid where there's no sign. Would there be an emergency? There's a few signs around to get weather, and Stacy and I have talked. Been trying to improve a few of them. Every time I place an order, I order a couple extra of these on the roads. Saltwell Road. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We're gonna be down there and hammer some lead and return the road to its pre-spring condition. While we're there, and hopefully solve this long-term water problem that causes this, I can't even recall much of it solved what was there this spring. So, and then, fiscal year 25 road work system, Bay Shore Road, the several more culverts need to be replaced, ditching. Little rip one place where it's really washed out with overflow of water.
Because I don't want to see that keep getting eroded. North End Road, some ditching and culvert replacement, West Shore Road ditching. Adding more, hopefully like 500 yards per mile, various spots. Where we're going. Last year we did almost 800. And any unforeseen problems will be dealt with as they arise, of course. And then the big question is the next phase of the road improvement program would be Lower West Shore Road from the main road to Red Gate Lane. But I have examined the main road from West Shore, Lower West Shore Road to the south end. And I think it would be wise to combine them two in one project. With prep work, ditching culverts this fall. And maybe pavement in the spring. June, that we can do it too early. But I need, ballpark of $650,000 to do both sections. The cost increases I've seen, it would behoove us to do it now. Just let us. Very good interest rate. I think you. It's one that. We got the better.
Well, we work, the board, select board got a line of commitment interest rate. That is still in effect, so we can still draw down $450,000. Roughly, and pay the interest rate that we would have paid 2 years ago.
So it is doable. And spend their money, their tax money.
Yeah, it's ultimately their choice.
Right, and I think what we pay in interest, we would say in inflation. That's what I've seen since we did Greenleaf Road and the part of East Shore. We would more than cover the interest with cost saving. That's kind of why I want to merge these two together. So anybody can call me. Email people or maybe or with the town office, select them, you can get it to me. No, anybody can call me. If they want to discuss this, I'd really like some feedback.
I know.
These are not my choices.
Right.
The choice what is done in the marketing I use the beginning. This is what needs to be done.
Right.
But if it comes to the line card, that's up to the law.
Any questions for Jim? No. Hearing none, do you have any other questions or concerns for us as a board or for any of our support here? No. Dick. Dick, can you come up here?
He did his homework.
Yes.
You were actually hard to hear on the Zoom. You're the one person I really couldn't make out. Yeah, it's okay.
And I'd given him a mic, so
Right up here.
So.
up to the L. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
There you
it's
go.
my pleasure to stand here before you. And it looks like with all these town officials here, I am John Q. Public. All right, anyways, so I'm confused about the mechanics of what's going on here. And it looks like basically the confusion lies in the mandated legislation that we're supposed to pass for the building code ordinance. First question I have is, if this is going as a warrant, if it doesn't pass, what is the next step that's gonna happen? Talking about LD 2003?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
this is John, I think.
Yeah, if no ordinances have, then, we're not in compliance with the state law. Which means,
We probably, sorry, I was just gonna say, we probably have to get input as to why people were opposed to it. And do another shot in special meeting is
But
what I would.
well, I mean, I'm just telling you what would happen.
Yeah.
If we didn't pass it, and that is, we wouldn't be able to find this down.
Mhm.
So, well, do it, no, and saying, you don't have a statute, so I'm gonna do what I do.
Our ordinance would no longer, would not
Meet the
meet,
criteria.
the court could say you don't have a valid building permit, or land use ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. We.
We do. Yeah, and I know that you folks have put a lot of work into this, so went through some of these processes myself, so I understand.
No, I appreciate your questions.
Actually, it's a good question to make sure we address,
Yeah.
at our board, at our town meeting.
Right.
Make sure that people know that this isn't.
Would it be funding that we might also lose if this were to not pass? Would there be funding that we might lose, you know, government, state funding that would come down to us that we might be eligible for if this were to pass?
Sure, I think if they would hold funding for the town, if we didn't pass it,
Yeah.
I don't see any good. Where, when we research it, there's nothing in the statute that says,
Right.
if you don't pass it, you don't do it, money.
We-
The statute should have.
We just no longer have a compliant land use ordinance.
Right. Mhm.
Probably the worst case result will be somebody would apply for a building based on statutory language. I wouldn't be able to approve, because it doesn't meet our ordinance, in the town. Would increase the debate, with the town before, as we want the ordinance. And part of the chief proposal fell into that criteria for the legislature determines was appropriate for every town in the state, regardless of their services.
Right, so what we're trying to do is craft this to meet our needs.
Yeah, right,
Specifically, which is a good agenda for this.
So basically, the state law would be what takes precedent, and our ordinances have been adjusted to address our needs.
Right.
No, I think that would have to be determined in court. And the town determined. This is the property, and that's the West Fork, and they don't see you. One of the judge, maybe.
There goes money out the door for the lawyers.
We're not passing it has the potential of town money, yeah.
Yeah, next
So
question.
this building code change that we're putting in. So if this gets put in the past, if somebody would do appeals, it would go through an appeal process, right? We had a board of appeals that could handle that. Did I hear that in the last meeting that we had 2 nights ago, that there was like nuisance situation, that would go beyond the Board of Appeals directly into arbitration with the selectmen,
There would be a hearing with the select board,
rather than the Board of Appeals.
yeah.
Is that something we want?
The reason that we didn't, I can't remember what it was though, why we didn't run it through the Board of Appeals.
Yeah, there was a lot of conversation about it, and, prior, for landlord, we didn't want to emphasize litigation, we wanted to emphasize working with, so. Law is, nothing happens unless, the word. They don't. There are 2 people, one, that was to. Fortunately. So, says, what? They live, so it goes through at least those 2 well for. So, that's what I'm trying to sad for the agreement, the like, not struggling doing. Well, man. What? Work. Doing. And I'm going to be for enforcement. So, you know, we discussed many lessons setting up law layer. Even
Mhm.
with an emphasis on word God. And now they decided. So right now, we don't have the process in place, that you know, if Matt and claiming my neighbor, I agree, these folks over them, so they found out. And the whole point is, framing. And, it's as a process, so these guys know how to be and something. And, you know, speaking personally, I think it's having something like that is. It's on something. These guys are going to get a lot more value than before. No, no, no.
So there's some thought in my mind about back in February when we had the appraisal meeting here. One of the things that came out was that we go into the tester and then it was corrected to, we started Lincoln County. If we had a.
Well,
And so what I'm hearing is like, there's an advocacy going on to try to bypass the appeals court. And so, cause I heard back then in February that the reason you wanted to have the third person do it was because one used more pride than you felt to select people. And, you already had a high workload that was being only to you as being select person. So I can understand that part of, you know, the condition. I agreed with Ken Shepherd at the time. I didn't speak up, but the point was there should be an oversight person on that particular motion if that were to happen. So I'm wondering if we should have some sort of oversight into this situation if it comes to you, because maybe you don't need to handle this as a select board.
I would think, and these two can also add in, but you know, one of the things we've been talking about and how we have been operating is if there's an issue with the assessor, we always talk about it. If there's any discrepancy or whatever, it would clearly come to us first, and we would talk about it because technically we are the board of assessors as well.
Right.
But he should be able to do his work, not because of our workload, but he is a professional and he's been trained to be able to assess. We're not trained to do that.
Right.
So there's no reason we should be doing that work. We should be supporting him in doing that and doing whatever we can. So we would have discussions if there was any discrepancy before it ever goes anywhere else. And we probably didn't articulate that very well.
no, and we should have set up a board of assessment review is what we should have done. We didn't really present that well, that whole situation. I think what happened was it was a timing thing. We had to do it by a certain time when we kind of threw it together and tried to get it done, but we know that in hindsight, it probably wasn't formulated correctly. I'll be honest, when you read what the rules are, and then when you find out what everybody really does, they're two different things.
Yeah.
So what I read is in terms of a assessing agent is that, well, if we're the Board of Assessors, we do all the work and he just kind of like helps us. But every single other town that uses assessing agents, the assessing agents go out and do everything and just report back to the board. So our concern was that we couldn't use the assessing agent the way we wanted to, so we wanted to switch to
A single assessor.
single assessor. That's how that all came about, because we were trying to go by the rule book and do what we're supposed to do, but everybody does it that way, so we're like, okay, well, we're good now, so, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but it
you
had
understand
nothing to
that
do with our workload.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you have something to add?
On the nuisance ordinance, or anything, we should, what deals that the select board,
Yes,
fine.
through the review of the work, so that we get more community participation, so that, the, field board will could maybe rectify that problem right at that point. I wish somebody from the field board were here, because I've never served on the field board. It is really its role. It's establishing the facts. And so if someone makes this decision gets made, and the appeals board then for the fact, the facts of the law. And rules out, but it doesn't penalize, it doesn't take force any actions. Select board can. So select board can do both. They can both look at the facts, do the fact finding collected. It's not usually what we do. It's got a nice thing the Board of Appeals doing it, just as they did with Long Barney. But still, our select board's role then is to drive the action for that complaint.
Yeah. So my feeling is that I want to see local action try to resolve the problem first.
well, the hearing.
Over the select board.
This actually introduces a little beautiful. For us right now, if the government's directors, neighbors, nothing with them can do to get to the over 50, it's his only option. This ordinance allow, carriers, they can say, hey, we gotta go. I go up and say, like, it could be a problem, and if it is, and I say, to this board, and I'm not gonna come, why, so, and then they have a hearing, listen to all the facts, they'll say that, the, circumstances and making sure not, our local things are violated the rules. And then, as Jeff said, they have a girl who said, is what you can accept and final resolution, if not, we'll go to further. There will be in 30 months, but we'll install.
Okay.
So it is giving us a multiple way of addressing it,
Right.
talking about, hopefully reaching, so mutual agreement on it before taking any further action.
Yeah. Okay. That,
Did you want to say anything?
That's all this is.
Okay.
okay, I feel more comfortable with hearing this thing.
Well, and it's good for you to be asking those things because that's what we need to hear, so we know how to react to it and
Right,
we need to know what people are thinking.
yeah,
Which is one of the reasons to have this meeting in a friendly environment.
Yeah.
Instead of,
yeah, I felt like it's
Yeah.
that title, it's a loss for you for, but it was a victory for those who wanted to maintain the status. quo.
Yeah, but I think, it was fair, I think, in how, it came up and came about and people, yeah, it really wasn't about keeping things as they are, but kind of, we wanted to change something pretty drastically, which again, in hindsight, probably really didn't.
it wasn't drastic, but we wanted to change. It was
Yeah.
really changing the title to make it more appropriate to what we really do.
Yeah, but we found out consequently that we don't really need to
My analysis of the
do
meeting was,
that.
it was more of a fact finding meeting.
Yeah.
Information gathering meeting, but some people were determined to either
Yeah.
into the
Well,
hard.
that's why we're doing these meetings and putting this all out as much as we can, so that people are informed when they come and they're not hearing about it for the first time, when they come to the meeting. So hopefully this will help at our town meeting.
But seeing the huge turnout, I'm not sure that will be the case.
Well, amendments, the good thing about the ordinances is that it's a pass or fail, There's no amendments on the floor. So
Yeah.
they either say yes or they say no, so.
Jim had a question first or a comment before Jim.
For the here over, you know, field over, you see the thing, you could get yourself in a situation where we have a jump. The homeowner wants to keep the jump, but so we appeal it, the selectmen's and Gary says you're gonna move the jump, I want to appeal this. So then goes to the appeal board, and it's either, yes, the jump file stays, no, the jump file doesn't. And there's no, like with up here, you're working with them, giving them an opportunity to just, to rectify the situation. So they don't have to either, all of them, leaving just the 3/4,
Right,
you know.
right.
cover with a
That's the
grant.
plan. That's how we, see it playing out.
You could have, maybe you go with that, it's either, yes, no, there's no.
Yeah.
No, not as much give and take. Yeah, John.
I really like your question, Tuesday regarding 15 days, and there's that, I anyway, there's one more, sort of, long period of time. It's 45 days, 90 days, so I actually think that, well,
Yeah,
to talk about how long job. Right, I mean, I think 15 days,
Short. yeah.
Okay, so to answer your question, that changes on my mind on a daily basis. Because you read the news today on little Sebago Lake, oh,
Oh, the fire?
for the fire.
Yeah.
There was some brush,
Mhm.
fire burned 3 camps, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, I look around my property and maybe a year ago, I put some brush down. I left some of it from small animals and that sort of thing. This is really too interpret. I don't have the time to eliminate that. You know, it'll be releases as soon as it comes down, within 15 days from when that, so.
The Larkland piles, large he wanted to have taken out.
But even have a permanent still there. With, on the Ellen 2003, first thing. So legislation, I know, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Trying to push it around. Or not, the coast, but. In the not the right thing, around the book, to, that's in the book, solution for problem, we don't have.
Right.
It's a big on.
Yeah.
They're stuck with it for now.
Yeah.
We know it's going to happen, so here's good. With respect to passing something that will apply to the statute or areas of the statute, which you're concerned about, we can talk.
No, but I think if practical, it was the way it wants to be presented, so.
But I want to say that 15 days doesn't work for me either, because I'm thinking of the situation now that we have, and I know even when in the spring when he started up and it was like we had all the wicked weather with the rain and everything else. We have winters here,
Yeah,
and so 15 days is
this is more about 15 days of this,
certain.
whatever the junk is that's
But still.
still sitting there, but 15, that could be transitory and,
Well, and one of the statutes could go back in itself, other ordinances, the lower towns, your man, and that particular section, the doctor from the town. And he believes can't remove talk about that number of meetings and non-hearings.
it's a little blur.
But I.
No, me either. I don't remember.
Um,
Mm-mm.
You
But
asked.
now that you-
So, geez, that's
Right.
really-
Yeah, we pointed out that way, so what it will be, we still have to,
Yeah.
you know, talk about these things. That's the point of doing this too, to get input in case we have to tweak the ordinances a little bit.
What were you thinking for time wise, Gary?
It just occurred to me moments ago.
You know,
60?
part of,
I mean-
Congress, what? Now, it's kind of coming back. Our conversation. You know, they're in a situation where that's their account, we've got on gasoline or oil open still,
Yeah,
that's just polluting hell by way of well in the neighborhood. And again, you know, we don't even want to wait 15 days, you got.
It feels like something bigger than a nuisance, though. That feels like,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, well, I'm using extreme example.
yeah.
Example, but there might be instances where. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, 15 days is definitely too short. What's,
Something else. Plan or the start have to be initiated within 15 days.
Well, I think.
well, let's say the complaint might be because let's say somebody's, I don't know, gutting a room in their house and they have a pile of stuff in their yard and they just, whatever reason, just to get to the dump or have it picked up and it's been sitting there for 2 weeks, somebody could technically then come and complain about it. And it would just lower the level of having to deal with this kind of stuff if we did it over. You want it to be something that's more chronic as opposed to somebody's just cleaning up their yard and have have a pile of junk and somebody doesn't like the way it looks and complains. So it really needs to be more of a chronic problem, so,
We're gonna have to legitimize it.
yeah, yeah.
It's making a lot fairer, Gary, if. I'm being you the discretion of the CEO discretion. To, that's something you were so comfortable with.
Well, I think the ordinance we're discussing, this nuisance ordinance is more towards annoyances than actual dangerous situations. Something that's polluting the environment is not violating that, it's violating the local statute and the sections of the ordinance. So there's not allowing you to go out of situations like that. So I think it's still a standard time frame, nuisance ordinance would be fine.
Yeah,
Something more than 17 million. Somebody had to block on. And it's in the law, they're not even in the ground. I would rather see the bank walk over and look at brush pile than to just go matches. And then some of these brush piles are accumulated, how might read that words.
yeah.
Yeah. So I at least burning, like windows and stuff, if you got a home. Have this building push bottom. You're 15 days, that's not going to do that.
Right.
So you're gonna hurt. Maybe like a system, I don't know, it's 15 days at least for the burn.
Just drive up and down this island and,
That's why I.
Everybody's got-
stuff like
That's
that.
what we're
yeah,
gonna
nothing's been
probably
picked
take that
up.
out.
Yeah, yeah. We will revisit that. We
Yeah.
highlighted it.
well, I'd like to call attention to such what the, after we got the last storm. There's a branch in the house, especially on Ridgeville Road, it's a power line, it's not a power line at all, and there's side of the fire. And this summer, that will happen again, and we're afraid that would be far greater than what we thought. We lost the power line, and first responders put the fire out. So this is why I say changes on my mind need to go.
Yeah.
Day to day, and I want to think about this.
Yep.
So,
So we're an island with
give you that advice.
trees. Yep.
There, when we saw, just checking the road, went down there and once and. The tree, take power.
Mhm.
Power, wood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends on something else, or if you know something that. The fire, and it's not cool. Yeah. Depending on all this. If I could do that long, and do it every fall, you don't know.
Yeah.
It's good for.
Mhm.
Roots.
Yeah, Dee Dee also called one out, I
Yeah.
think on Pierce Road,
Same thing.
last fall, again, hitting power line or something, yeah.
So I call into advice, and also that same tree is leaning directly over the line that goes in 4 different directions, just waiting to cause more damage.
Has somebody contacted them?
You know, like CMP,
Mhm.
the last time the power crew around it, they said, that-
Yeah, I have a tree that's leaning on a power line too, and I contacted him and said it's Spectrum's problem, not CMP. So it's still there.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, my God. So, you really.
Yeah, yeah, they are gonna be cutting down trees.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so,
It's not. I just think you walk over the, again. Not all out, I think.
maybe that tree can be included in a.
Yeah, maybe there's gotta be a way, maybe talking to April to figure out a way that if people have a specific tree that they already know is an issue, to let them know when they come down. We're to April about that. Yeah. Put on my notes here. Any other questions?
No, I feel.
You did?
Thank you.
All right, seeing none, I suggest that we adjourn.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
I'll shut off the recording.
Yes. Do better.